Okay, so we need to take up a comfortable standing posture. Comfortable standing posture, nice wide stance. So at least as wide as your shoulders, if not perhaps even a little bit more. Knees softly bent, back nice and straight, arms gently hanging down by the sides. This first exercise comes from the very core, deep in the very center of you. We just gently turn and have a look over the shoulder, see how the back feels, and turn and see how the back feels. Okay, so then just release the back and gently move from side to side. So this exercise can be done sitting down as well, but obviously you'd need to be on a stool rather than a chair. But the thing that's important to know about these exercises is that every single one of them can be adapted to whatever state your body is in, to wherever you are physically. And so perhaps if the exercise bit at the beginning is too much, you could just sit and imagine your body doing the exercise. So this is one of the curious stories about Qigong. So much of this, so much of our wellness and illness is part of our consciousness. And so this is where Hunyuan healing comes to the forefront. It's about working on us conscious and our subconscious to heal ourselves. So in Dr. Pang's theory, he has Hunyuan entirety, and that's effectively the entirety of the universe. That's everything. And so very often people say to me, oh, but I find acupuncture is very good. I find that, this Western medicine is very good. I find that, and I sort of say to them, yeah, but is it working with the entirety of the universe? They sort of say, oh, okay. And then I mentioned, we had a conversation, Brad and I was sort of saying about healing modalities, such as things like sort of EFT, which I've studied. And everything that we study necessarily has to be a subset of the universe. So when you get to sort of universal healing, you can't really go any further. And I think Dr. Pang it's like a game of top trumps. Dr. Pang has eventually found the top card and nobody can beat it because, well, perhaps it might be multiverse healing. Perhaps he hasn't thought of that, and perhaps somebody else will come out with a multiverse healing system rather than a universe healing system, and then they'll have beaten him. But ultimately, if what you're doing is healing at a universal level, then you're kind of unlikely to be needing anything else. And so, I remember that teacher Lou, who used to come to the UK quite often, and he used to do this thing called the pyramid of healing. And at the bottom, he'd have organs and cells and DNA. And he'd sort of say, this is the area that the Western medicine focuses on. This is kind of functional medicine. And, don't get me wrong, I understand that, some things in Western medicine are amazing, incredibly clever. Western emergency surgery, for instance, if you cut your arm, don't go calling an acupuncturist, is my opinion. I think Western medicine is stunning from that perspective. And then he shows the next layer up, and he shows things like endocrine system and, essentially the energy part of the body, endocrine system, the immune system, and things like that. And he says, this is the area where Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine work. We're talking about, qi, energy. And so that's the next layer up. And Western medicine doesn't really, focus on that. But Eastern medicine, both Chinese and Indian, do kind of focus on that. They use herbs to move the energy around in the body. They use needles to, draw qi back and forth. They use qi. They use qi, which is a subject that the West kind of completely seems to ignore. So they're already one step ahead when they start to talk about qi. But he still says, that's only the second step up in the pillar of, what does he call it? The pillar of health or pillar of medicine or whatever. So of course we have Western medicine on the ground floor. We have Chinese and traditional medicine, Indian medicines and so forth on the middle floor. And guess what's on the top floor? Dr. Pang and Hunyuan healing. And he sort of says, we're working at a level which is above the energy level as well. And of course, the top-down approach, when you work at the highest level, it then cascades down to work on the energetic level and cascades down to work on the physical level. So if you start with what our scientist friends in quantum energy, quantum mechanics, quantum science call, they call it a cascade. We start at the very top and the energy cascades down through our life. But what is it that actually sits at the top there? What is this Hunyuan healing? So so let's just develop this exercise a little bit, rather than just where we're at now. Just stretch a little bit further and just look back over your shoulder. Just open up the turn a bit. Okay, so healing yourself from the Hunyuan level. So the principle of Hunyuan Qi is that our entire universe is made of Hunyuan Qi. And if I take you back to childhood, perhaps your children's childhood, the idea of Lego. And Lego, there's always one tiny little piece of Lego that as a parent, you normally stand on it. It makes your day very unpleasant. It's a 1 by 1 by 1 tiny little square of, normally white hard plastic that embeds itself in your foot as you stand on it, and you shout, "Ow!" That little 1 by 1 by 1 is the kind of the smallest building block. It used to be. I mean, these days there's all sorts of funky, funny pieces, but when I was a kid, the 1 by 1 by 1 was the very smallest one, and that's the kind of the smallest unit of the entire universe. In quantum physics, it's something like a plank to the 46th, some extraordinary sort of tiny, immeasurable thing. It's just a postulated idea that the smallest unit of the universe is, 10 to the minus 46 or 10 to the minus 62 or something crazy. And so our entire universe is made of these tiny little pixels. They're so tiny that we can't see the fact that our entire universe flashes like an old-fashioned TV set. It's constantly refreshing itself. These tiny, which keep on 64 times, units of the universe are called Hunyuan Qi. And the idea is that when you apply your consciousness to Hunyuan Qi, things start to change. So it requires humans and consciousness to make this game work. And as we use our minds, we can create things. We can destroy things quite clearly. We're quite good at that. But we're also quite good at creating things. So in order for this building that I'm standing in to happen, somebody needed an idea, and then he passed his idea on to someone who dropped the plans, and then the plans, and someone needed the energy, i.e. money, to buy all the bricks, and eventually someone put them all together, and here we have a house. And so this is the kind of downward approach from an idea to a physicality. And so that's the same for ourselves. We can use these ideas to create things, but what are you building? That's the question. So the top layer of our pyramid, it has Western medicine on the bottom, it has Eastern medicine in the middle, it has Dr. Pang at the top with Hunyuan science. And essentially he says that the most important thing is our consciousness. And so this is what we work with in our class. We use La Qi exercise to change our consciousness. We're working at a truly universal level to change the illness in our bodies. And that has come about by thought. So who would want to make themselves ill? Nobody. However, there are so many factors in this world that affect our lives. They go deep into us at a deep psychological level. And so at the very top, we have our true self, our absolute perfect version of you. And then we have our subconscious Qi, we have our conscious Qi, we have our Qi that kind of connects the true self out into the brain, as it were. So there's a kind of like or the true self out into the universe, I suppose, into the universal conscious mind. So there's all sorts of layers of consciousness Qi as well. And the really difficult one for us to get to is the subconscious chi. So we work with La Chi, we work with our Qigong visualizations, blood and chi flowing well. It's an instruction I give you often. But the idea is you think, blood and chi flowing well around my body. That's lovely. That must be good for me. So at some subconscious level, you hear the message, blood and chi flowing well. And indeed, your body says, oh, okay, great. Blood and chi flowing well. No need to have these blockages anymore. And what happens is the blockages that are put in place by the subconscious dissolve. Okay, so this is how our Hunyuan healing starts the process. We take away the stories in the brain, and eventually those stories start to dissolve the blockages in the body, and then eventually the chi, the energy flows down from our subconscious, flows into our organs, and eventually flows out into the whole body and heals our bodies. Let's let this exercise gently stop. Let's gather chi, lift chi up. Pour chi through the body. This is not just a motion with the arms. We're digging deep into the earth. We're lifting energy up. We're inducing this energy to flow through our heads, move into our neck, chest, deep into our belly, down our legs and back into the earth. So don't just think, I'm just waving my arms around. Really imagine you can manipulate this Hunyuan chi and draw it through your body. And when we move it through, you can imagine gathering energy that you need, so we can lift and gather energy from the earth. And as we pour through, we can imagine it pours into every cell, into every part of our bodies, gathers deep inside our belly. But also we can wash chi through and let go of anything that's no longer needed. So there's a kind of an idea that chi, there's no such thing as good or bad chi. There's no such thing as good or bad. That's just your judgment. But let's just say there is chi that's no longer relevant to your system, that's been used up in some way and now needs to be expelled. So it's just as important to gather it in as it is to move energy out that's no longer required. So just don't be one-dimensional about it. Think about the two dimensions. Think about cleaning and clearing as well as gathering and storing. Let's lift the hands up and we'll do some simple back and forward bends. Stretch up into the blue sky, nice and long. Okay, and then tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Drift into the upper back, the middle back, the lower back. And just let the body hang wherever it will naturally hang. Let's softly extend towards our toes and release. In line with the roots of our toes and release. Working towards our insteps and release. Work towards our heels, nice bend. And relax, let the body hang. Great, so lift the tailbone up behind, push the tailbone to the front, roll the spine up, head, arms and ears gather up, stretch up to the blue sky. Drift the knees forward as you lean back. Stretch up, gently back. Stretch up, gently back. Up and back. Great. Let's do some side bends to keep the body going. So gently drift down, open the right side of the body. Up, down the right, open the left side of the body. Down the left-hand side. And down the right-hand side. Good. Draw hands up into the blue sky. Okay, so we begin our bend section again. So we can stretch up into the blue sky, head, arms and ears tip over, upper back, middle back, lower back, gently drift down, let the body hang and relax. Sink towards the knees and release. Sorry, toes. Sink towards the roots of the toes, release. Toward the insteps, release.
toward the heels. Body relaxes and hangs. Tailbone gently lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine rolls up. Head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Knees and hips drift forward as we up and gently back. Up and gently back. Up and gently back. Stretch up into the blue sky. Let's do our side bends. Left side. Down on the right side. On the left. And on the right. Good. Hands up into the blue sky. Nice long stretch. Let's try and do these exercises with straight legs if we can. No bother, you can unlock them if not, but try and keep the legs straight. Head, arms, and ears come down. Upper back and middle back and lower back roll over. Keep knees as straight as you can. Just let the body gently lower down and relax. So when we hang here, we can just shift the weight gently forward into our toes. And that just helps the hamstring stretch a little bit more. So we find that comfortable hamstring stretch, really let the back of the leg open, and then we go back to our normal exercise. So sink down towards the toes and release, in line with the roots of our toes, and release, toward the insteps, slowly getting deeper each time, and release, and then back toward the heels in a nice deep bend. Body hangs, body relaxes here. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone gently pushes to the front. Roll up. Head, arms, and ears come up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Knees and hips release forward as you lean back. Up and gently back. Up and gently back. Up and gently back. Great. Stretch up into the blue sky. Left side of the body. We go down on the left and feel the right gently arc open. We go down on the right, open on the left. Down on the left. And down on the right. Stretch up. Great. Okay, so last thing. Last time through. Nice straight legs. Tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Roll into the upper back, middle back, and lower back. Just let the legs stay as straight as you can. Let the body hang gently for a moment. Weight a tiny bit forward onto the toes. Okay, so in this posture here, we stretch gently downwards toward the toes tips. And then release towards the roots of our toes. And release toward the insteps. And release. Back toward the heels in a nice deep bend. Release. Body hangs and relaxes. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine gently rolls up. Head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Nice long stretch. Knees and hips drift forward. You lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and gently back. Up and gently back. Hands up into the blue sky. Left hand curls down. Right hand curls down. Down the left. And down on the right.
stretch up into the blue sky. Let's just bring the hands gently down the sides. So back to this idea of pouring chi through the body. Imagine the hands in the earth. Imagine lifting up yin chi from the earth. It mixes with yang chi from the heavens. So you have a perfect balance of energy. And then as we release the hands down over the top of the head, you imagine you can pour this chi deep into the core of your brain, washing and cleaning the brain, filling the brain. As we draw the hands down through the throat into the center of the chest, washing, cleaning, and filling the organs down into the belly, storing the chi deep there, and then releasing the hands and letting the chi flow back through to make a circuit with the earth. Let's gather again, lift and chi up. Gently pour it down. Again. And pour. Let's go one more time. Lifting up. Let's focus everything into the belly now. So draw the hands down over the crown of the head. We draw the hands deep into the center of the body. And we just let the hands relax on the belly. Right in the very core, the chi is gathering there. So when you bring your mind into the belly, when you have your hands on the belly, everything is focusing into the core behind you, deep inside you. When we have our mind inside our body, when we're thinking about the belly, when we're thinking about the core of ourselves, we're experiencing our body. That means we're kind of at home. My teacher Lou, always says, mind in its chi bedroom, which I think is a nice idea. Your chi's gone back to its bedroom, sitting on the bed, concentrating, reading, staying in it deep inside in this comfy, cool place, calm place, shall I say. And so we have the mind at home in its chi bedroom, resting in the belly. And the nice idea about that is that when we try and concentrate on this image of holding the mind in the body, it's not out shopping. It hasn't gone off running in the countryside. It hasn't gone off to family problems. It hasn't gone off to money worries. It hasn't gone off to, it's just here in the core of you, relaxed and settled. So every time we start to worry about something, every time we feel the anxiety rising, every time we feel the anger rising in our bodies, or sadness rising in our bodies, or hatred even, we're expending a huge amount of our energy. But when your mind is settled inside, then everything is calm. Everything is quiet. We keep the energy inside. And so the whole idea of self-diagnosis is a really difficult thing. There are some very simple principles you can apply in Qigong. How would you decide what kind of a person you are? What's a predominant thing for you? So when you answer my questionnaire online, there are very often questions in it like, are you nurturing? Are you fearful? Blah, 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 all these different questions. And they lead to a conclusion. And in fact, on my website, quantumqigong.co.uk, there's a thing there called test. And that asks you to answer 120 questions. And eventually it'll show you your balance of the 5 elements. See if your heart is much higher than the rest of them, or your kidneys are much lower than the rest of them, or, so we basically try and take a midline and find out which ones stick out, and then you can work with the ones that stick out, that are not on the average, as it were. So using that test is one way to gather what organs you might be working with, what kind of person you are. Another one is when we think about the emotions involved in the organs. And so the most obvious one at this time of year is liver, and that's anger. And the question that hangs there is, are you an angry person? Do you find yourself getting cross with people all the time? That would indicate that maybe your liver needs a bit of work. Jealousy is another one with the liver. The heart's a different one because the heart has hatred in it. It has love as the other side. If you're someone who can really keep a grudge, if you're someone who feels angry about, well, angry obviously is liver, but you see where the words overlap. If you feel hatred towards someone who has done something to you in the past, you can't let it go. If you're holding that hate in your heart, then that's an imbalance of heart chi. Spleen is all about worry and overthinking. Do you chew things over all the time? Are you constantly worrying about what will happen? Well, it seems that maybe your spleen might be a little bit out of balance. The lungs, they hold a heavy-duty weight. Guilt, grief, sadness, shame, sorrow, all sorts of things there. Do you feel guilty? Are you filled with grief? Is your life all about sadness? Are you ashamed of something you've done or someone who you've become? Do you feel deep sorrow? All of those are part of the lung. And then finally, the kidney is fear, irrational fear mainly. Oh, if I go outside, I might get hit by a bus. If I walk along the street, a piano might fall out of the window and crush me. Sort of Laurel and Hardy, irrational fear, I suspect, but those kind of ideas. Sometimes as a parent, you worry for no reason about your children. So this worry is spleen, but deep fear that something's going to happen to your children. Gosh, my child, is she going to go to school and get attacked? These things. There's no real reason to fear that, but these things are exacerbated by our kidney energy. So there's a little bit of self-diagnosis we can do. We can do my test online. We can look and see which of these emotions seems to be the strongest in us. The next layer is more difficult. I'm always angry. Why are you always angry? What makes you angry all the time? So I'll give you the example. My wonderful dad, bless him. But unfortunately, he had a real snap temper. He would just go off at a moment's notice. Often, when he was driving, we all know drivers like that. Someone would do something that he thought was incorrect because he saw himself as a very good driver. And if you place yourself highly as a good driver, then of course that's going to make most other people bad drivers. So somebody would do something they wouldn't indicate, and he'd shout, "Oh, bloody hell," and we'd see this in the car all the time, driving with him, constantly muttering under his breath or, shouting out loud. And then it would go quite quickly, but he would have this very flash anger. And that was all about liver, anger and liver. And so he had that story, and it wasn't surprising that that story became part of my life. Well, my liver chi was also compromised, having spent years working in the city, and you can imagine, drinking lots at night, eating fatty breakfast in the morning, pouring cups of coffee, and my liver was in a pretty tarnished state, shall we say. And so it wasn't a surprise that I took on that habit from him. Oh, bloody hell, every time a driver did something wrong, And so I started to look and think, why is it that I'm always angry? And I thought, well, clearly I need to work on my liver because that's one of the stories. And I thought, yeah, but the root of that is much deeper. It comes from, and as I searched through, I discovered my dad shouting in the car. And I thought, yeah, I think that's the root of it. And so I then had to look at the root of that and start to heal that subconscious story. I used various different tools. You'll all know Ho'oponopono, which I'm sure I've sent out to everybody in due course when you've had a consultation with me. I think it's a lovely tool. You gently think about the person and then you say, I'm sorry. And you can repeat that as many times as you like. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Thinking of my lovely dad. And then the next line of Ho'oponopono is, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. And the idea is that, okay, I'll finish it off. And then the next line is thank you. Thank you, thank you. In the understanding this person has given you their forgiveness. And the final line is, I love you. I love you. I love you. And so in a circumstance where someone has been an abuser, when someone has attacked you, raped you, you think to yourself, how can I ever start this story with I'm sorry? How can I ever say thank you? How can I ask for forgiveness? Please forgive me when you're the one who should be forgiven. When you're the one who should be asking for forgiveness. It's a very difficult story. And Ho'oponopono goes all the way back to Hawaiian healing culture. This guy who popularized it in the West. He worked as a psychiatrist. He was in a really dangerous hospital ward in a prison. So much so that nobody went into the ward anymore because it was just too dangerous. They'd be attacked. And so they used to just push food through the door and let the prisoners look after themselves. So he realized that it wasn't going to be possible for him to go in and speak to each of these prisoners one by one about what their problems were. So each night he took one of their dossiers home and he sat there and he just looked at the person and thought about their name and he went through this process. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. The whole forgiveness thing. Why would he ask forgiveness of a prisoner he'd never met before? But we have to accept that society has somehow driven these people to do what they do, made these people wrong, whatever the case is, that we are part of this entirety. So our society, our religion, all of these stories are part of our entirety. You remember we talked about Hunyuan entirety. So we have the universe as an entirety. We have human life as an entirety. Then we have ourselves as an entirety, everything nested inside each concept. And so when we think about the entirety of human life, nothing is disconnected. We have to take responsibility for everything in our world. Somehow we have responsibility for, I don't know, Putin. Goodness, that's a heavy thing to say, isn't it? But at some level, just the fact that we're part of the Western world and that's against the Eastern world, just being part of the West is enough to give you some grain of responsibility. And so he took his responsibility for these prisoners very seriously. He told them how sorry he was that they were in this terrible state. He asked them to forgive them for his part in them being in this terrible state. He thanked them deeply from the bottom of his heart that they would give him forgiveness. And then he then said to them, I love you. Not directly, just out loud with their picture in front of them. And within weeks, the ward started to change. Everybody on the ward started to calm down. Things started to open up, and suddenly people were able to gain access to it again. Nothing had changed. No drugs had changed. No warders had changed. Nothing had changed. Only thing was the psychiatrist doing Ho'oponopono for his poor, beleaguered patients. So we do Ho'oponopono. I do Ho'oponopono for my dad to release his patterns. You can do Ho'oponopono for everybody and anybody in your life. What pattern controls you? And of course, our mothers and our fathers are such primal movers in our lives. They end up getting blamed for all sorts of things, poor souls. We always have to remember they're only doing the best they can with the tools they have. But even so, we can forgive them for any perceived problems they've caused us. Grandparents, slightly at arm's length, but still might have massive control. Friends, lovers, employees, employers, our children, all of them have some bearing in our lives. All of them can bring about toxic patterns. So perhaps you have a natural predisposition to worry about your family, and perhaps your family take advantage of that and constantly put themselves on you. You kind of open yourself up as a target. And as all of this weight from the family pours onto your shoulders, you start to believe that it is something to do with you. You start to hold all this pain inside. But don't forget, the truth of the matter is that you are your own entirety. Connected to everybody, sure. But ultimately, it just comes down to you. You are a conscious being. You have the power to change your life and to heal your life, to be a different way. So if you're an inveterate worrier, you'd work with your spleen to try and improve things in your life. Give your spleen a massage. Do the spleen tone that we were doing a few weeks back. Do side bends, squeeze the spleen, massage the spleen. Change your diet to help the spleen. And then that's going to take the immediate tendency to worry and just turn it down a notch or two. And then you start to heal the family. It's a holistic approach. You start to work with each member of the family and you say to them, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. And as you work with that, you change your relationship to them. The bonds that bind us to our family can be merged, changed, untangled. So let's start with that today. In our standing posture, we have our knees gently bent and our tailbone drawing down. We've got our hands on our belly. You could leave them there, or perhaps you could just hold a little gentle ball of chi in front of the belly. Your hands might automatically go to La Chi these days, gently drawing open and closed. That's fine, whatever works for you. But we're going to do Ho'oponopono. And even though you may not feel you've had any issue with your mother or your father, you might just think they were the most brilliant people. But the fact is they've still created patterns in you. So let's work at a subconscious level. We'll start off with mother. Mother dear. Think about your beautiful mother. Just gently repeat. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Once more. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Let's do the same for our fathers. Just picture your father if you can. If not, just imagine just an old photo, whatever it is. But really go deep into this with absolute meaning from the core of your heart. We say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Last time. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So just sit for a few moments, wait for a few moments. Just let these feelings percolate through your body. If you believe, as I do, that the energy of a person continues after their passing, then it still makes absolute sense that people may still be connected to you in some energetic fashion. What we're talking about is healing the connection between you and that person. No time, no space. Just letting go at the deepest level. Healing and putting the connection back so that our relation to those people is now in the right place. So now we're going to choose someone else. Maybe grandma, grandpa, could be your partner, could be your child, could be one of your siblings, of course. I miss them out. They can create all sorts of problems in our lives, as we all well know. Bless them. So let us just think. You can now take a person, whomever you wish. Hold them in your mind. And then we begin again. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Gently pause and just feel that energy. Feel your connection between that person healing, opening, evolving, becoming perfect. When we remove all the barriers, when we dissolve all the problems, then our relationship can start to heal. Just stay with that for a few moments. Allow that feeling of healing to mature, develop, open. So now let's take a bit more of a world approach. Where would you like to apply some healing? What relationship would you like to heal? So we could take anybody throughout the whole world and change our relationship to them. So again, bring to mind a person who you wish could be better in some way. Your relationship to them could be better. The world's relationship to them could be better. So we hold that person in mind. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so, so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. love you. I am so sorry. Please, please forgive me. I thank you. I love you. One more time. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Just pause for a moment. Just feel the energy of what you have done starts to make little changes around the globe, starts to change your relationship to everything. And when we start to heal in this way, we start to bring about a healing for all of humankind. There's one last person who's left in this equation who needs to be worked on. That is you. So you have this kind of disconnect, brain to body. It's such a Western thing. Somehow, where did we lose that connection between our brains and our bodies? We can be extraordinarily ill and still keep doing the thing when we know we shouldn't. That disconnect between the mind and the body is so strong. So now we have to work with ourselves, work with our bodies, work with our consciousness. So think about yourself, and we shall do Ho'oponopono for ourselves to finish off. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Last time through. I'm so sorry. Please, please forgive me. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you. Feel this love and healing pouring through your body. Know that the blockages that hold you stuck in place dissolve. Know that the ideas that pin you dissolve. Allow yourself to be open. Chi and blood flow well through every aspect of your body. all functions of your body gently returning to perfect working order. Feel the truth of that as you change your relationship. Your mind and your body change. As you change your relationship to the past, everything in your body changes. You can use Ho'oponopono to change your relationship to the future as well. If you think about an appointment that you're worried about, a talk that you're worried about, you can just dissolve it. See a bright new future happening for you. But here and now, feel the love in your body for yourself. Truly develop a love for yourself, and your body will naturally heal. For everything is love. Love, love, love. We just need to embrace it. Okay, so if your hands are floating about in front of you, you can gently draw them back to the belly. Just hold the chi there inside. Lower dantian chi is abundant. Blood and chi flow well through your body. Feel this chi deep inside you, coursing through the channels, coursing through your body, filling every organ, everything working well. So we can use the instruction step on chi, which means you heel toe your way back to a standing stance with the feet together. Let the hands relax down by your sides, or just close. So we bring the hands up into the prayer position in front of the heart. Take your hands gently up in front of the face, over the top of the head. Give yourself a stretch, heels to fingertips, blue sky. Let the hands drift down a little bit. And then we open up. Little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers. Let the hands split apart so they come down to shoulder height. Already scooping 2 lovely handfuls of chi round to the front, shoulder height and width, and then send this chi in through your brain. Allow the chi to go in through the third eye, deep into the core of your brain. Illuminate your brain with chi. Every cell in your brain working well. Total clarity, no fog. All functions of your brain returning to perfect working order. Drift the elbows down, bring the hands underneath the arms. We just lightly touch Da Bao. Send chi from your fingertips deep inside the center of your chest, behind the breastbone. That's where we find middle energy field. Allow this chi to gather here and flow into your lungs, into your heart, spleen, pancreas, liver, kidneys, abundant with chi. All the secondary organs, large intestine, small intestine, bladder, gallbladder, stomach, pericardium, everything working well. All functions of your organs returning to perfect working order. All functions normal. All functions of your organs normal. And then we just point the hands behind us with the palms facing up. Back of the hands move to the front. When they're in line with the side of the body, you can turn the palms over with a bit of a flourish. Send a wave of chi out into the blue sky. And then let's draw some back for ourselves. So traditionally that would be left hand first for men, right hand first for ladies, the other hand covers. But just whatever seems to work for you today. We just take this lovely ball of chi and squeeze it directly into the belly. Hold the chi deep inside. Gather this amazing energy. Store it. Keep it there, deep in your belly. Lower dantian chi is abundant. Blood and chi flow well around the whole of your body. When blood and chi flow well, they carry the nutrients to your body. They carry the chi to your cells. Everything working well. All functions of your body returning to perfect working order. All functions normal. All functions normal. Just feel that. Feel that idea reverberate through your body. Everything going back to working order. Sometimes the body's a bit slow to respond. But when we start at the quantum level, we start at the Hunyuan Qi level, and we start this cascade of healing coming down through the emotions, coming down to the physicality of the organs, coming down and spreading through the body to each of the cells. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but just be patient. Just know you've taken a step towards your healing. Take this step forward every day. Heal yourself. You're the only one who can do it. Other people can prop you up, can help you along, can give you good direction. But ultimately, you heal you. So believe it and allow it to happen now at the deepest level. Let's make some little circles around the belly button just to close off. 3 circles go anti-clockwise around the belly button. As we go around, this just attracts any excess chi into the core of your body, brings you back into the center, brings all this energy to be stored deep in the belly. And then we can take 3 circles the opposite direction. And that just sends the message to your body. We've finished our chi stuff. Now we have to get back into our physical body. We have to get back into our physical lives. So we sort of come back in to this present moment. As we stand here, you can just imagine yourself, your skin covered in a Wei Qi layer. So Wei Qi is kind of like a protective barrier, about a couple of inches around your skin, from head to foot, the whole body encased in this lovely shield of energy, keeping you safe. And then your Qi body, a meter above you, below you, beside you, left, right, front, back, up, down, this wonderful bubble of Qi. You inside, a being of light, every cell in your body working well, every function in your body returning to perfect working order. You inside your Qi field and your Qi shield, protected, safe, happy, connected out to the outside world. All functions normal. All functions of your body normal. Ah, lovely. So put a big smile on your face. Let the hands drift down by your sides. Good. We can open our eyes. We can move our fingers, move our toes, have a little move around, and then we get ready to say Haola together. So Haola is Chinese for everything is good already. Everything is already sorted. All this work we've done, working. Okay, so we put our hands up in the air. I shout 1, 2, and then we say Haola. We'll do that 3 times. So hands up. 1, 2. Haola. 1, 2. Haola. 1, 2. Haola. Very good. Thank you very much for being here today. Lovely to see you guys. And yes, have a lovely sunny day, hopefully.